When you see beyond more than what the average person allows themselves to see, it can sometimes get nuanced with the pain and a burden of seeing more. When I started to appreciate seeing more, it became a freedom. And not because I appreciated seeing more first. It came because I cleared some blocks within me that caused me to feel that it was this heavy burden of such. And so I'm like, I don't hear people talk about this much, right? Some people can, some people won't, and some people can't. This is what seeing is amongst all of us. There is a nuance of being able to see what others can't, and then people not accepting the reality of what they see. When this happens, it becomes a burden because they oftentimes are mad at you for revealing or exposing a truth that they refuse to see. But sometimes people aren't ready for the truth. And just because you know something doesn't mean that they should know it from you. And sometimes we get caught in the ego of they should know it from me because if I see it, then they're supposed to know. And it's like, no, no, because you see, you're going to see the truth of things. That's just what it is. Because you're walking in your truth and walking from your heart, you're going to see a lot of things about people. But it's not for you to weaponize. It's not for you to place yourself on a pedestal of, I know, I can see. And really that I can see more is a blockage. It's something that it's like an illusion in a sense. Like, yeah, you see the truth of things, but to see more is in comparison of what you think other people don't see. Some people are cloaked. Some people come out here and they know their role and they operate in their role. There's this story. I'm going to tell you this story. It's about a coyote and some other animals, right? There's this mountain that all of these animals are living on. And they say when you get to the top of the mountain, there is enlightenment. Everybody gets their gifts, right? But you got to make it to the top of the mountain first, right? So all these animals, they're on their journey. They're trying to get to the top of the mountain. And the coyote, he hears it and he's like, oh, and he starts plotting. And so he starts getting into all these different ways of preventing the animals from getting to the top of the mountain. So he starts all kind of destruction and all that good jazz, right? And so the animals are like, the coyote, he's getting in the way. You know, they're upset, they're mad. But the obstacles that the coyote is presenting are important. But they don't know this yet. They get to the top of the mountain finally after all of the madness that the coyote had caused, right? They get their gifts. But they only were able to get their gifts because they went through the journey with the coyote. They obtained the struggle that they needed in order to obtain the gifts. If they would not have encountered the coyote, they just would have thought they was walking smoothly up the mountain to get their gifts. No, it's not that easy. It's not that simple, even though it seems like it's supposed to be. And people have this entitlement of, I'm walking the spiritual path or I'm walking the path of truth. Therefore, I shouldn't experience drama. I shouldn't experience all that I'm experiencing. I should have more. I should have this. I should have that. And that is literally one of the steps in evolution that you have to overcome, is the entitlement of what you think you should have. And once you overcome that part, a whole other massive shift happens. A whole other avenue of truths come up and open up for you. Sometimes, like, you see truth before you get these tribulations and trials, and the truth that you see is distorted. So it's not the complete truth. It's a nuance. It's a part of the truth, right? And it's only a truth to the point of where you got your wisdom, and you didn't reach your wisdom yet. You didn't get the full wisdom. You only got parts of it. You got epiphanies of parts of it, but not the whole thing. And so this whole thing is right behind your judgment over everybody that you see about what's happening. Everybody is playing a role here. Everybody's role is not to be a leader, a healer, just because you have influence that you're supposed to be a leader. No, that's the illusion. That's the illusion. You're here to have an experience. And in that experience, there are many of us that chose to come and to assist people through their experience, but that was a choice. That was something that we were something that we were gifted, right? That was something that we were going up the mountain to get here in this experience. And so we're encountering coyotes and we're judging the coyotes, wanting the coyotes to change and get on the path with us to go to the top of the mountain. But the coyote is already living in his purpose. It's you that are going for your gift. You understand what I'm saying? It's you that's unlocking your gift. And when you mind your business and you worry about your path, then you will begin to see your gifts unfold and unlock through opposition. You're not going to just get your gifts. So be careful not to anchor yourself in the pain of opposition. Be careful not to anchor yourself. Look at it and see the opportunity in all the opposition that you've been experiencing, and let those anchors and barriers fall away. That is when the truth will start freeing you. When you start seeing the truth of those around you and you're like not trying to change them. You are seeing things for what they are. The reality is what it is and not what you want it to be. You're not creating an aversion to their own suffering, to their gifts, to the opposition that they're creating that's sharpening your iron. You're not creating pain around what's happening. You're creating more weight for yourself when you're sitting in arrogance and judgment about what other people are doing. I am telling you what I have experienced, right? Like, there's this beautiful knowing of accepting the truth of things without letting it place you on this high almighty pedestal, and now you want to tear everybody down. I got this reflection. Oh, I was so grateful that it came to me the other day, because I muted somebody because every time I would like see what they would say, it just felt like they was constantly judging and constantly tearing somebody down, and they were using their spirituality to like weigh on somebody. You know what I mean? And I really appreciate this person, like who they are when outside of that, but the social media part, it's like, I'm struggling with that. And I'm like, it's not the hit dog will holler thing. Some of it was, but some of it was like, there is a nuance this person isn't tapping into, and I'm struggling with constantly seeing that part. So I muted them, and then for a while, and then I came and I unmuted them, and as soon as I unmuted them, I started seeing their post again, and it was the same exact feeling. But from this perspective, it wasn't the same concept. It wasn't the same. It was like, I see the truth in what I'm experiencing right now. I see the truth in why my body's reacting this way when I see this person's post. And so that I was instantly freed. I didn't mute them again. I didn't need to, because now I'm freed from whatever it is that I was holding inside that I needed to see. So now that I see this nuance of what it is, it's like, let me talk about it, because this is actually how I might have been presenting at one point. I might have been coming off this way. So let me present the nuance. Let me present the totality of it, and let you know that you're all on your paths. And I honor your path. And I honor where you sit and where you stand and where you are on the mountain. I honor that. But I also can call out the nuance as well. I also can see the whole truth of it to what I'm allowed to see. I also can see where I stand in relationship to this truth. And I also don't have to walk next to you on the mountain. I also don't have to sit and break bread with the coyote. Not that I shouldn't, not that I feel that I'm higher than the coyote. I don't have to I am not obligated to break bread with the coyote, but I'm also not tasked to destroy the coyote, because should I destroy the coyote, how are you all going to get your gifts? How are you all going to get your iron sharpened if I destroy the spirit of the coyote who's already walking in his path? So the point is not to try to get rid of the nuance. It's to start looking at that within yourself and breaking down that barrier within yourself. Let them be the reflection for you to say, okay, they represent that I have the capacity to operate in that way, but let me only take the truth of what I need to experience and leave the rest on the shelf. Let me take the truth of my gift and leave that where it's at. Let me be who I am and leave the rest. The Crusades have constantly, historically, brought civilizations down, people down, because they felt that their way was the one and only way, and everybody needed to get on this way. And so people died, genocides, things happened, and they thought that their way was somehow better. except they were destroying more lives in their anger and grief and their opposition about what's happening. They're distorting harmony because they don't understand harmony. They don't understand what's happening. They haven't yet achieved the wisdom to see their capacity to be either this greatness or to be who they are. And so they're trying to be who they're not in judgment of who someone else is. And you're not meant to do that. You're not having your experience. You're preventing yourself from your gifts and your joy and truly experiencing your gifts as freeing. Your gifts are to free you first. A lot of people get really sad because they can't experience their gifts in joy, because a lot of times money is attached to the gift. A lot of times we attach our gifts to capitalism. We attach our gifts to being accepted, to being seen, to being leaders, to being something that we might not be because we say we are. Like, who we are and our gifts, they're embedded in our DNA. And the coyote unlocks the messaging. The love unlocks the messaging. The things that once we saw as beautiful sometimes get in our way. Sometimes these things tend to cause us to have filters. And it's the fear of truly what's behind that door of what we don't understand that keeps us from experiencing the truth as freedom versus being a burden. I am so grateful for truth. When you despise truth, you are a fool. And no worries, because the fool is just the beginning of the path. The fool is the beginning of all that is beyond. Allowing yourself to be the fool allows you to walk yourself into the next step on the mountain. So on this day, I implore you to start seeing your opposition as an opportunity, not as an anchor and as a root and suffering to your pain. It's not to dismiss what you might be. When I tell you, I done gone through the fire, baby. There's things that people think they know about you, but they have no idea. And it's not for you to try to prove to them of why you are validated in your experience. You don't need others to validate your pain. You only need to know that you experienced a certain reality and that you're no longer cuffed by your past, but empowered by it. Peace.